And I'm here with Aunty Molly. So thank you for doing this. I feel it's important because we're in the big house, and anywhere really that we want to connect and have a deep, meaningful conversation, but especially here in the big house to light a fire, a flame. Our fire in the big house is an invitation to spirit, our ancestors, to come in and be with us during the important ceremonies. So that's what I want to do here, in lighting the candle. I also was talking to Molly about doing the video in the forest, because I feel walking in the woods, you connect with nature. So with this video, and I wanted to do this video to talk about the potlatch that we just had, because this is Village Girl Diaries. What's going on in the community. We could have done the video in the woods, in the forest, and connected with the forest, or we could come in here, the very sacred big house that Pa made himself and left for us to use. So this was the top place to do it if we were able to, and if we do it respectfully. With the fire, we invite the ancestors in. The door opens for us. So done in the right way. So with this, I also want to invite in the forest as well, to connect with and help us with a good conversation to have about the village and the potlatch that we just had.
Mm-hmm. 2-day potlatch that it took pretty much 2 years to plan for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it was, I think anyway, if it wasn't for all of us here at the village who did this with Pa every time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the 4 potlatches here in this big house, I think it was 3 or 4 in the big house in Alert Bay, and I think 2 at the Thunderbird Hall in Campbell River before we left down there.
Yeah.
You know, we've done all this that many times.
Yeah.
And it was hard to do without Pa, but we did it.
Because it's a lot.
It was it was huge. But we did it.
Yeah.
You know,
Most people don't understand how much work goes into it.
Mm.
I did it. This is my first potlatch here with the family, and it was overwhelming.
yeah. And then to carry on your regular job, you know, going to meetings, doing...
Yeah.
And I think this one, we were amazed at what Pa actually used to do.
Right.
Because we had to do it this time.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. It was, you know.
The respect for Pa and what he did during all the potlatches that he has done.
Mm-hmm.
And the work that went into it, and the connection you need with the ancestors, of the importance of our culture to carry it on.
Yes. And then I think, you know, with that connection to the land, to the ancestors, to the culture, you know, that a lot of it Pa taught as we were up the inlet, making Leitna, working, you know, being here, building this place, without saying those words, he lived the connection. you know, which working with him all those years, you know, we learned it as well without him saying any words about it. It was just a connection we made. It's the feeling. When we used to go up to Jawadi, as soon as we passed a certain point in the inlet, it felt safe. You know, when you're at home, you feel safe.
Yeah.
And when we passed that certain point going up the inlet, it felt safe. Even though it was blowing, you know, really hard and we had to anchor out, we still felt safe.
Yeah.
Because we were home.
Yeah.
And then when we go down island now, once we pass the point out there and we could see the village, you know, it's a safe feeling because we're home now.
It is, and it's a place connected to your heart, and it's home.
Yeah.
It's finding that connection in your heart every day, and remembering it. Yeah.
And the connection to our ancestors, our family. And, you know, Pa would come sit in here, you know, quite often, just by himself, just sitting in here and letting the ancestors speak to him, you know, with what they wanted him to learn, with what they wanted him to know, or just to calm him, give him a calm, you know, give him back his peace, you know, if anything was bothering him. He'd come sit in here and, you know, wait until he was calm again. And it works.
Yeah.
You know, if we just sit in here and listen to the quietness, it calms you. You know, with nothing on it. Sometimes, you know, in the night, when you're in bed, you turn the lights out, everything's off. And if you just listen, you get so calm and it's so easy to go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's calming. I find that when waking up in the morning and you're in your house and you're kind of doing your things, even here, your mind is places, but as soon as you walk out your door and you hear the birds, it's like a reminder again that, oh, okay, because what goes on in the mind is so loud.
Yes.
The struggle of the mind. And I think that's something that maybe we see. I feel that the potlatch is so symbolic of where our people are. It shows spiritually how strong we are and how big community is to our people. It represents us as a people.
And it's there to witness how hard the family worked, how, you know, to show the respect they have, like if it's a memorial, the respect that they are showing for that person, they're remembering at this potlatch. And it's, I think that's almost being set aside at a lot of potlatches, to forget why you're having it in the first place. It's not anything to do with you.
Our ego.
Yeah, you know, it's not trying to uplift yourself.
Yeah.
You're, you know, showing your respect for that person that has passed away. That person, you're showing everyone how much respect you have for that person. It's not to uplift yourself, your position, your, you know, it has nothing to do with you.
Nothing.
You know, you're uplifting, like we were uplifting Paul.
Yeah.
And Grace.
Yeah.
As well, you're learning, you know, that culture never ends either. You're always learning something new, and it amazes me every time still.
Yeah.
You know, you're like when we were practicing, you know, we learned a lot just in our practicing.
Yeah.
And And you know, that's after so many potlatches given, we're still learning.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, life.
Yeah.
You learn every day.
Yeah.
And then what I said earlier is, you know, Pa took on the responsibility of his hereditary chieftainship. It's not just a title you get, and then that's it, you're set for life.
Yeah.
There's stages to the chieftainship that you earn,
A life.
you know, during your whole life.
Yeah.
That's why he put on so many potlatches, to go to the next stage. And that seems to be forgotten now in a lot of potlatches. You know, the responsibility that a chief has doesn't end when all the guests leave. You know, it's something that needs to be lived, not just when, you know, you're called up in a meeting or when you're called up at someone else's potlatch to give a speech. You need to bring that with you every day.
A way of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest responsibility
It is.
to be a chief.
Mm-hmm. And when Paul was learning, you know, he didn't have, like Gordon has all of us. And I hope he utilizes all of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've learned a few things in our lives being with Paul all those years. And I hope he utilizes us. But Paul had grandmother, which was a big, you know, that was a big positive thing in Paul's life. And then every potlatch, he'd have his recorder out, you know, way back when he first started. It used to be this big, huge one, and then they got nice and small, but he had them out every time.
He would record each potlatch.
Yeah, and he'd listen to them. Every day he'd listen to them. He'd listen to the songs that were sung, the speeches that were, you know, made.
Yeah.
And he'd listen and listen and listen until the tapes wore out. Some of the tapes just wore out.
Wow.
You know, he dedicated a lot of his everyday life to learn, you know, what he needed to learn to be who he was. I hope our next generations can do the same. You know, maybe not in the same manner as he had to learn, but you know, now it would be so much easier.
Molly is dedicated to the family in her job, life, her dedication to everybody, her kids, her husband. I mean, it shows up, and it's not an easy job, and it's hard, and it's hard on the body. But you keep going. So you're an inspiration to me. That for me, you are the center.
Organizer.
Center organizer, center woman, at the village, in the community, because she's living here. But my passion and big thing about Village Girl Diaries is women, community, learning to live together and opening conversations. So women is my obsession, and Molly is so positive influence for myself.
Thank you.
So community life, living at the village. How is it? It's our life here, but you've been here for 12 years.
12 years, and then from birth to 8 years. You know, that it was We moved when I was 8, and we didn't move back till when I was 46. You know, that's a long time to be away. And we started trying to come back in 1986. And that was like 20 years of working to get back here.
That's a long time.
Yeah. You know, and at first it was for Ma and Pa to be able to move back here. You know, because I live at the village. You know, being a young person, I suppose.
Yeah.
It wasn't really something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, living in Campbell River and Nanaimo and...
Yeah, with kids.
Yeah. You know, it was... No. But then, after the infrastructure went in, I think, and everyone was picking out where they were going to have their house, and it was just when we were moving in that, you know, I was finally on board. This is the place I really want to be.
Yeah.
You know, it took me that long.
A long time.
Yeah.
Well, you work it out in nature your whole life anyways, too. So I get like wanting to be in town.
Yeah. And to finally be able to live here and, you know, still work beside Pa. It was a big thing, you know. It was like I didn't want to live here, but I didn't want to not be around Ma and Pa. Not be able to work with Pa every day, like I have been for most of my life. I think made up my mind. And Nolan and Amy have been coming over here every summer and for all their lives.
Yeah.
So this is a place they knew and loved to be. So it was not even a question for them.
Yeah, and it becomes a family connection.
Yeah.
A place where family is. And I find that too so much. I found when my parents moved away from Calgary, I liked, you know, visiting, but I just more and more felt the call to move here and be with them. Family connection is huge. It's a beautiful place. That's it. It's a nice place to live. But living and being close to your family is so important. And it's hard. It's not, you know, but it's better than hard.
Yeah. And then with the family connection, the connection to the land and everything is that much stronger. It's the same in when we go up to Tsatsisnukwomi. You know, the connection we have up there is, I think, the month that we're up there, the connection to the land and to everything up there is stronger than our connection to the land down here.
Yeah. It's because it's a different way of life.
It's completely different. We're, well, minus all the generators and everything that go up there now.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same process, the same, you know, work every day that our ancestors did. It's the same. You know, we make the glina the same way. There's no difference. We catch the oligans the same way. We leave them in the ground the same number of days, and it's all the same. And that feels like the connection is that much stronger. We're doing the same things as women were doing hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
You know, that's such a strong connection.
Yeah.
You know, that makes it feels, I don't even know what words to put.
Yeah, I've only done it twice, but I definitely feel it.
Yeah. sometimes because we used to work up there all winter, and we'd get up in the middle of the night, like use the bathroom, whatever, Jean would come with me, and it would be clear, it would be crispy cold.
The stars out there are just
Yeah.
unbelievable.
And
Yeah.
we'd just sit out there and listen to the waves way up in the valley,
Yeah.
and Dad would come out and we'd just sit out there. Just listen to the land.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would, the connection and the open-mindedness would solve a lot of our problems now.
Yeah.
Trying to get along, trying to bring our people together.
Yeah.
That would, whoever would want to go up. Some people are used to their city life, and
Mhm.
anything smaller would just be,
Mm-hmm.
out
For
of the
those
question.
that are ready.
Mhm.
But nature is healing. It's
Yes.
And there's so much healing that needs to take place.
Mhm. But I think we're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think we can do it.
Yeah.
And I think that our culture and our connection, keeping the connection to our ancestors, will help a lot,
Yeah.
especially the connection to the ancestors.
Mhm.
That's the reason the fire has to be on. You put the fire on the early morning of the first day,
Yeah.
and that fire can't go out until the potlatch is over.
Mhm.
2, 3 day, 4 day potlatch. That
Right.
fire can't go out at all.
Yeah, and back in the day it was a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's our connection to our ancestors, is
Mhm.
through the fire.
Through the fire. Yeah, I love, that's my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then if you talk to any of the guests, they love it here. Some of them say they could, they love the peace and calmness.
Mhm.
It's a feeling that they get when they come here.
Mhm.
And that's, I think, that we get and the land gets through our ancestors coming,
Mhm.
and knowing that our culture is here, our people are still
Mhm.
here, and they still
Mhm.
believe in us.
Yeah.
We still believe in our ancestors helping us.
Mhm.
That's a big thing, is to believe that they're there helping.
Yeah.
They're not just someone that died a long time ago. It's us believing
Mhm.
that they're,
Yeah.
they're there to help us. They're there, they come through to help us. And our connection to them is the fire. And we need to believe that they're there. And, that will give them power
Mhm.
to come and help us.
Which happened
Our
in that
belief.
picture.
Yeah.
They came through because we were all together as a family,
The whole was
community,
being unveiled, yeah.
people, and it's magic. Magic happens,
Mm-hmm.
and it did.
Yeah. And that was even just seeing the picture afterward was so powerful.
Yeah.
It was, they're there, our beliefs were being proven with that picture.
Mm-hmm.
That our belief in our culture, our belief in family strength,
Mm-hmm.
our belief in showing respect to our ancestors, the people that Potlatch is for,
Yeah.
was so strong that day that they were able to come through.
Yeah.
It was that they were able to be seen that way
Yeah.
through that picture.
Yeah. Which is love, right? Like,
it is.
It's love that brings us together, and then that's
Yeah.
how they show up.
Mm-hmm. It was, I couldn't really believe my eyes when I saw them. 5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It made the whole, it completed everything.
Yeah.
Everything we
Mhm.
worked so hard for, the potlatch, the 2 days, everything went well. And then a couple of days later, we saw that picture and it just finished everything. It completed our work.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
magic. I feel like it's old knowledge that we're remembering and being shown with technology. Through a picture, we see spirit. But it's something that they're showing us, like, remember this, like, this is what you're doing and why it's old. It's something that our ancestors knew, but we've forgotten. And we're just gently being reminded when we come together.
Yeah, we feel that connection to them, and our heart feels it, that it's, we're doing this because of everything we've been taught to bring our knowledge of our culture, forward. But our knowledge was learned from our ancestors, and they're still watching over us. And that, that's what, our heart knew that all along that they were there.
Yeah.
But that, seeing that picture, yeah, they're there. It was, our mind caught up to our heart, I think.
Right, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, our crazy minds, and that doesn't, that questions everything, and our minds caught up with our hearts.
Yeah.
And that's something that's easier to do out here, is your minds connect to your heart because of where we are and nature.
Constant
and
reminders.
the beauty of life.
Every day with the sunset.
Yeah.
Or the sunrise.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or the moonrise,
Or the moon,
setting, or, yeah.
Those birds at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, the heron at 2 a.m.
Yeah, we know you're there.
Yeah. Yeah. So what kind of healing do you think happens with this potlatch?
I think, well, that's another thing I've learned during the process of this potlatch, was that memorial potlatches are given for the family to let go of that person. Let that person go to their next stage where they need to go. The person that has passed on. They're there where, your memories and your constant thinking of them and wanting them back, and so they stay right there. But at a memorial potlatch, the mourning part, when the ladies stand or sit there, and it's for us to let go of that person, not for ourselves, but for that person, in order for them to move on to their next level in the spirit world, in which made so much sense to me after.
Yeah.
We can't, out of selfishness, hold them there. They need to get on, go where they need to go.
Yeah.
Which helps us, process those feelings, I suppose.
Yeah, here in this physical world.
You let go of those hurt feelings that they're not here anymore. You let go of the, all the emotions you go through when someone passes away. The hurt, the anger, the depression, you let go of those and just hold on to the memories so that they can go on to their next level. And I think a lot of us did that. There's so many, there's so many great memories each of us have with both Grace and Paul, in our own way, how we interacted with each of them all our lives. And it's those memories that will keep us going. Or most of us, I think most of us did process those feelings, which, is a good end to what our work has been for the last 2 years. We had 2 years to prepare to let those feelings go. But for a lot of those months, we didn't realize that was the main goal for Memorial Potlatch. The mourning was to let go of that hurt, the depression, the anger, to let it all go and just remember the person and what that person brought to your life.
The teachings of the ancestors right there.
Yeah.
Our ancestors teaching us through the process of the Potlatch.
Yeah, which they have been doing for centuries.
Yeah. It's so cool when you
Yeah.
think of it like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It is. And it makes life easier. I think if you learn our culture that way and bring it to our everyday life, the things you learn. You learn respect in the big house. People
Which is
don't treat each other
huge.
this way
Yeah.
out there all
Yeah.
the time.
No.
There's so much respect in the big house.
Yeah.
Giving respect to the ancestors first, and then, asking them for help. Which is when he sat here for hours.
In meditation.
Yeah, giving them respect and then asking them for help, asking them to calm him down, asking them to give him direction over whatever he might want direction on. And believing that they're there. That was a really big thing, is belief in our culture. A lot of our people go through the motions, they know the motions, but they don't believe in it. You need to believe in it. Or obviously, they know the motions, but they don't believe.
Yeah.
But I think the belief is so important.
Yeah.
They go around and then they do all the motions, but you can see the ones, you can pick them out that believe. They really believe in what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they believe that their ancestors are there
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah. And they have the connection.
Yeah.
It's
You
a
could
personal
really-
connection.
You could
Yeah.
really pick those ones out.
Yeah.
There's some that can mimic what they're doing,
Yeah.
those ones that really believe, but you can't mimic that belief.
Yeah. That faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, that, I hope that grows. Our people really need to get back to believing.
And I think that happens with connection. If we connect with each other, because we've separated as a people, and it's been bad, what the separation has done to us. But coming together in communities, even as Potlatch as this family, another lesson, the ancestors come together during this Potlatch, and healing will happen. And we come in here and we are able to connect with each other again, and it's a place of spirit and the Creator, and it's a reminder.
Well, just coming into the big house, you could feel it.
Yeah. Even the people, visitors to the village, tourists come and they feel it.
Yeah. Some of them are really in tune to the spirit world, and they come here and they get really emotional when they even enter the big house.
Yeah.
Because they could feel all the spirits and all their energy, but they don't know what it is, but they could still feel it.
Yeah.
Which it shows how powerful our ancestors are. Where even strangers could feel them, you know, and sometimes, which is sad, our own people can't feel them. You know, but I think if, like on this potlatch, you know, little Georgie, he was so passionate about picking up the drumming and the singing, and, you know, I've sat over here and I just watched him sometimes, and he was singing with all his heart. It was, you know, that I hope he doesn't lose that as he gets older. Yeah. You know, because he had such passion in drumming, you know, just with all the other singers. Yeah, that makes me think of it's the cycles of life though. You have it when you're a kid, you're connected when you're a kid. When you grow up you lose it, but it's a part of life to get it again. And it's part of the cycles of life. Yeah, I kept talking to Harry, you know, telling him, make sure you keep George in that, you know, try to keep that alive in him. And Harry. I think Harry's come a long way in learning our culture. Before he knew how to carve, you know, he just picked that up. Which Pa explained that it was some of his uncle's spirit going into him. You know, because his uncle was a really good carver, Pa's uncle. And his spirit got passed into Harry. You know, and Pa explained that to Harry as well. But, you know, before he just carved, it was just carving. And he's starting to know what Pa was talking about. He said, even the colors in our poles, our designs, they mean something to our family. The designs and, you know, everything means something to our family in our poles, in our, you know, crests, everything. He said it all relates to our history. And I think Harry's learning that now, which I'm so glad, because it will bring him far, because he's the next in line. And it's I don't know, you know, it's hard. Our future in that area is going to be difficult at times, I think, where the culture is concerned. You know, out in life, you know, they need to earn that respect on their own. To be a hereditary chief is a big responsibility. And you can't take it lightly. It's that chieftainship was passed down for hundreds of years. You know, wasn't just Pa handing it to Gordon, who will hand it to Harry. You know, it was generations ago. And Pa treated it that way. You know, that was really big responsibility. And he took a long time to finally accept that's what he needs to do. You know, he went through residential school, and he almost didn't take it up. But when he did, he just went full bore on it. And, you know, all, like this past potlatch is a result of that. And teaching us how to do what we needed to do. The more we realize how big and strong our family is, the stronger we'll get. And talk about stuff and share what we're learning, because I feel like, everybody can share so much. We're the strongest when we come together.